but I have to just say, anyone who has doubted me over the past decade about this evil woman now needs to eat some humble pie.
My sources are saying that William no longer recognizes his brother. He basically says he doesn't know who this kid is. Harry has become petulant, he's become vengeful, he's very angry at all times, and William's just kind of like, hey, who the heck are you? And yes, they do blame Meghan.
Who does this? Who behaves like this?
Meghan Markle is threatening to sue the British royal family and Prince William if her titles are removed.
Harry has gotten with Meghan, and he now feels he has to protect her and, defend her at all costs, even when there's bad behavior involved.
She was the villain.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
Last Friday morning, on the Isles of Scilly, the Prince of Wales sat in a hotel cafe and gave live radio to roughly 4 million Heart Breakfast listeners across the country. And across the better part of 3 hours of cream on scones banter and Aston Villa hoarseness, he named exactly one absent person, his grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth II. He did not name his brother. He did not say his sister-in-law's name. 2 children, Archie and Lilibet, went unspoken across the entire broadcast. 3 royal biographers, Tom Bower, Tom Sykes, and Andrew Loney, have spent the last 6 months telling us, in print and on the record, exactly why that silence was deliberate. This is the Prince of Wales talking about his wife.
Can we talk a little bit about Catherine? Because I just wanted to say how well she did in Italy. She's just come back. That was her first foray out there since her recovery. Yeah. How proud of you are?
So proud. I'm very, very proud. She's been amazing. She's been through so much in the last couple of years, particularly.
The same broadcast where he named all 3 of his children. George, who is now boarding at Lambro. Charlotte, who is obsessed with Taylor Swift. Lewis, who leaves jam fingerprints in the back of the car. The Wales family is named, photographed, scheduled, accounted for. The Sussex family, the other half of his late mother's grandchildren, is not.
I can tell you for a fact that my sources that work under William and Catherine tell me that she is not a topic of conversation. She is not on their radar.
Oh, okay.
Harry and Meghan, what they do is not on their radar. They are not concerned about it.
Here's the thing about Heart Breakfast you need to understand before we go any further. Heart is the biggest commercial radio brand in Britain. Its breakfast slot reaches roughly 4.3 million listeners every week, according to Global's most recent Radar figures. The Heart Network as a whole reaches around 12.5 million. This wasn't a defense correspondent interview tucked into the early hours on Radio 4. This was the chatty national breakfast show on the eve of a bank holiday, hosted by Amanda Holden and Jamie Theakston, broadcast live from a Cornish cafe for the first time in the station's history.
Because I know it can be a little bit tricky with names and that kind of thing, so just simply Amanda is absolutely fine.
Yeah. Yes, I'll lose my title this morning. I was hoping for Dame, but it's not come yet, William. I'll talk to you about that
His
later.
Royal Highness.
His Royal Highness. Oh my goodness.
Every single person who runs his diary at Kensington Palace knew exactly how many ears were listening. And he chose this slot, this exact slot, to be his warmest, most personal, most fatherly self. He was charming and tired, hoarse from Tuesday's win in Istanbul. He sat there and ranked Aston Villa's chances, ruled on the cream versus jam debate by appealing to his grandmother's authority.
Yes.
Good grippy cream. You can't beat clotted cream. Now, Prince William, what do you do? Think carefully.
I love that I'm the authority on that.
Here's the big debate. Scones or scones? Scones. I just feel like if you say it really fast, people are like, yeah, you said it the right way. But he's asked about this. And this is, again, one of those cute, quirky, safe morning show questions. What goes first, your clotted cream or your jam? I love the fact that he's definitely trying to distance himself as the expert on the debate. He brings up his grandmother.
Joked about being late for the school run and revealed that the song he runs to on a bad day is You Got the Love by Candy Staton. There is a kitchen table truth in that broadcast that every commentator in this country picked up on within hours.
Is this normally the time when you're doing the school run?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the children are on their way to school. They are listening this morning. I find music for me is so personal to how you're feeling and what you describe. So it's almost like saying to me, like, who's your favorite person in the world? I can't answer that.
No,
but,
you can't.
I love dance songs.
He did not need to mention his brother to remind you that there is a brother. The shape of the family he described, the wife, the 3 named children, the late Queen, the parents who once brought him to the Scillies as a boy, is the shape that has a brother-shaped hole in it. That hole has been there since 2018, and 3 biographers have spent the last 6 months telling us that William has decided to make it permanent.
He's very like the late Queen, his beloved grandmother in that way. It's been instilled in him by her. All those afternoon teas that they were taking at Windsor Castle when he was a boy at Eton, the Queen was teaching him what's going to happen. She was showing him, this is what you do when you take over the throne. And William has learned from the best that there was, and that was the late Queen Elizabeth II. And it is always that duty and country comes before anything, before even family.
On the 8th of November last year, the Daily Beast published a column under the byline of Tom Sykes, the veteran royal correspondent who writes the Royalist column. The headline was, and I am quoting it verbatim, "Prince William plots bonfire of royal titles when he becomes king." Read that sentence twice. Bonfire of royal titles. According to Sykes, and remember, this man has been writing about this family for the better part of 2 decades.
But when William does take to the throne, we're going to see a much harder line being taken by him, a much harder approach. Prince William is a man who does not suffer fools gladly.
The new Prince of Wales has, and I am quoting again, decided to use letters patent in the early weeks of his reign to strip every non-working royal of their HRH and princely titles. Not just 1, not just 2, every non-working royal. By name, the column lists Prince Andrew. Sarah Ferguson is on it too. So are Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Prince Harry is named. His wife is named. Archie and Lilibet are named.
At the moment, Charles has made Harry a councillor of state.
Terrible.
It's a problem. So what William's going to have to do, and this is what I think William will do when he takes the throne, now this will obviously hinge on Harry still being married to that woman, Meghan Markle. So this all depends on that. If Harry is still married to Meghan, William will strip the titles.
That was last November, and royal correspondents float trial balloons every week. But here is what happened the very next day. Buckingham Palace did not deny the column. Neither did Kensington Palace. Sarah Ferguson stayed silent. Tom Sykes was not sued. He was not pulled. The column ran without correction. And then on the 30th of October, 3 weeks before Sykes published, the king had quietly stripped Prince Andrew of his HRH and his princely titles via letters patent.
When Charles was really resisting any action against Andrew, and William was really saying, we have to let the police in, we have to let the police do their worst, we have to let, we have to remove all the protection from him, we have to kick him out of the tent so that he's not part of us, and if that means that he ends up in a court cell or a jail, we'll have to see how the cards fall. People close to Charles were telling me at the time, it's all very well to say that when you're not the king, but when you're king, things look a little different.
The mechanism Sykes was describing wasn't theoretical. It had already been tested. On the most senior member of the family it could possibly be tested on. Then in May this year, 6 days before William's heart breakfast appearance, Sykes published a second column. This one was about Project Thaw, the rumored reconciliation between Charles and Harry. And Sykes, who had been quietly skeptical that the king's outreach was real, wrote that the coordinated messages now coming out of both Harry's office and the king's office had pushed this idea past pure speculation territory and into something verifiable. Coordinated messages out of 2 offices. Project Thaw is real, and William, the 3rd office in this story, is silent on it.
From a source of hers close to the palace, directly addressing the persistent talk of a Project Thaw between Harry and the royal family, was that no one ever wants to see Meghan again. And who can blame them? Paula reports from her source, I spoke to one of my very good sources, and no, there is no Project Thaw. The reason why is that yes, the king would like to see his son and his grandson. No one ever wants to see Meghan again, but they understand Harry is fully untrustworthy.
On the 26th of March this year, Bonnier Books UK published Betrayal, the new Tom Bower biography, the long-awaited follow-up to his 2022 book, Revenge. Tom Bower, in case anyone watching is new to this story, is the investigative biographer who has spent the better part of 50 years writing about the rich and the powerful. His Robert Maxwell book put a publishing emperor's family fortune on trial. His Bernie Ecclestone book reset Formula One's accountability. He is not a tabloid speculator. He's a long-form forensic biographer with sources lawyered to within an inch of their lives. Betrayal contains a chapter, a single devastating chapter, about the Prince of Wales and how he intends to handle his brother once he is king. I want to read you the exact exact line. I want it on the record. The biographer writes, and again I am quoting, William was taking no prisoners. Once he was crowned as king, his brother might well show no mercy to him and Meghan.
He will strip the titles. But if Harry's divorced from Meghan by that point, which he could be, who knows? It's a long time yet in the future. But if he's divorced by that point, William may take a different approach, a less harsh approach. Say, okay, Harry's now away from that woman. I'm going to try and repair my relationship with him. It'll take time, but let's bring him back into the royal family. But this is at the moment, we're talking a long way. This is all hypothetical if Harry is no longer with Meghan. If he is still with Meghan, bye-bye to Harry and Meghan. No more Duke and Duchess. That will be gone.
He might even strip Archie and Lilibet of their titles. That is one sentence written by a man whose sources include serving and former senior aides to the King and the Prince of Wales. And that sentence is the most consequential thing written about the British monarchy this year. Bowers' chapter also gives us the date William reportedly made the decision. According to his sourcing, William decided not to invite his brother to his eventual coronation on the same afternoon that Harry was being excluded from the pre-funeral Buckingham Palace reception for the late Queen.
Anger and resentment, it might be there on the part of William towards Harry. How angry is William about Harry, do you think?
Extremely angry. That's why I'm saying he loves him as a brother, but does he like behaviour that Harry has displayed in the last several years?
A reception of 1,000 guests. That afternoon, not last week, not last year, 3 years ago. The biographer's verdict on the underlying cause is just as concrete. He attributes the view of Queen Camilla, reported via a known palace insider, that the Duchess of Sussex, in her words, brainwashed Harry.
Dramas, and as I say, William's a man who gets on with it. He's not into navel gazing, Mark, or psychobabble language, which we hear coming out of Hollywood, which has filled Harry's head with nonsense.
That is Camilla's reported language as documented in the book. Bowers' role is to report it. The palace has not gone to court over it. The book is published, distributed, and selling. There is one more line worth reading from the book before we move on, because it pulls the financial thread that connects all of this. Bauer writes, quoting his sources, that the Sussexes need roughly $3 million a year to keep the wolf from the door, and on every front. Netflix, Spotify, Jam Retailing. The income, in his phrasing, is drying up. A title is collateral. A title is a brand asset. Strip the title and you strip the asset.
Harry and Meghan had a success or two, but then a ton of failure after that. The Netflix thing didn't go as well as I thought it would. Their futures in Hollywood are looking quite bleak at this point. They have a ton of things, quote unquote, in development, but nothing in production.
The third biographer is Andrew Loney. Loney is the historian who has spent the last 20 years writing about the lesser royals, the ones who don't make the official Christmas card. He published a book called Entitled in November of last year, focused on Prince Andrew, but with a long second half on the wider succession.
I suspect, Charles gave undertakings to his mother to take care of Andrew. I suspect a deal was done to get Andrew out of Royal Lodge, and that may have involved, taking care of the daughters. And there may be concerns about keeping them in the tent still, rather than being a loose cannon outside. And the one way they can control both Andrew and Sarah Ferguson is through the future of the daughters. So there may be something in this, but I think William realizes the reputational damage.
In his Australian Women's Day exclusive promoting the book, Loney was asked, straight question, no caveats, what William will do to Andrew when he is king. And Loney answered, and I'm quoting his exact published phrasing, William will do it alone and probably get rid of Harry as well. Get rid of as well. Two non-working royals demoted in the same legal motion. In the News Nation interview that followed, Loney went further. He said, and again I am quoting verbatim, William's view is, actually, we're becoming irrelevant. People are just laughing at us. The we in that sentence is the institution that William will inherit, the institution he believes is being held in disrepute by the relatives he refuses to name on the radio. And Loney is not the only senior royal voice on the record.
Disappointment has got to a point that he's almost resigned to their, shall we say, unroyal-like behaviour that they have displayed over the last several years. He sighs, he rolls his eyes. He's just fed up of it all. He really is. But I think William feels like much of the country does about them. But the difference is for Prince William is the danger that his brother Harry and his wife Meghan Markle present to him.
The Sunday Times royal editor, Roya Nika, who is widely understood to be the journalist most senior royals trust to leak the most carefully, described William last year in a Times radio segment in terms I want you to hear precisely. William, she said, is someone who does hold a grudge. He does choose sides. If someone picks the other side, he remembers that. He remembers that. He remembers Oprah. There was the bridesmaid dress fitting before the wedding, the apartment row at Kensington about Catherine, the brainwashing language Bauer documented, the pre-funeral reception he was excluded from at the request of his own brother's chosen narrative. The Prince of Wales has a memory, the biographers have noticed. Last Friday morning at the Park Cafe, his audience noticed too.
No.
So William blames Meghan.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This trouble all started when Meghan married Harry. They were rowing in the build-up to the wedding. Meghan upset Princess Catherine, William's wife, over the row to do with the children, the bridesmaids. It was a silly tiff, but William saw then Meghan's behaviour. And Meghan was dangerous. She was going to be a danger to the Waleses, and she was going to cause problems and dramas unnecessary.
Now I want you to picture the family chessboard this week, because it is not a chessboard with one king, it is a chessboard with two. On one side, you have the king. He held a 50-minute tea with his younger son at Clarence House on the 10th of September last year, the first father-son meeting in 19 months. The first since the king's cancer diagnosis became public. According to multiple Daily Mail, Now to Love, and Daily Beast reports, the king's deputy private secretary, Theo Rycroft, a former British embassy deputy head of mission in Paris, married to the Honourable Flora Astor, brought in specifically for difficult assignments, has been openly described by senior royal correspondents as the architect of what Richard Eden at the Daily Mail labeled Project Thaw. Rycroft is reported to have told colleagues that the family situation has become, in his reported phrasing, time to knock their heads together. The King's Communications Secretary, Tobin Andrea, met Harry's then Chief of Staff, Meredith Maines, at the Royal Overseas League last summer.
The difference is for Prince William is the danger that his brother Harry and his wife Meghan Markle present to him for when he does take the throne, because his father, King Charles, is insistent that Harry remains a Councillor of State. Now, some viewers might say, what's a Councillor of State? What does that mean? It means that if something happens to William when he's king, Harry would have the powers to act on behalf of him. That's not something Prince William's going to want to have happen, is he now, really? And that's not something the country's going to want to have happen as well. So I think while his father's still alive, his dad's not a well man, as we know. King Charles has got cancer, we all know that. And so I think William's just taking the soft, gentle approach right now. And okay, Dad, that's your choice. I get it. Harry's your son still. You are going to have that feeling that you want him back in the royal family.
This is a king with cancer, in pain about the rift, working through senior aides to soften the wall. And on the very same day, the king visited Golders Green to meet two Jewish men stabbed in an anti-Semitic attack the previous month. The very same day, Prince Harry's essay on anti-Semitism appeared in the New Statesman magazine. The columnist Tom Sykes phoned the Sussex office to ask whether the timing was coordinated. The Sussex office denied coordination but conceded the New Statesman piece had gone to print in his reported phrasing several days ago, which does not actually rule out coordination. It just clarifies the editorial timeline. In other words, the king is softening, the king's aide is brokering, and Harry's office and the king's office are putting out parallel messages on the same day. Now look at the other side of the chessboard, the Prince of Wales. The same week that essay landed and the king held that hand in Golders Green, the Prince of Wales did one thing in public. He cheered Aston Villa to a Europa League win on Wednesday in Istanbul. Then he flew home, spent Friday morning on heart breakfast, and named no one from his brother's household, not in the 4 million listener breakfast slot.
On Wednesday night, of course, Aston Villa won the Europa League final, and it made me excited watching it, seeing how excited you were.
Yeah, well, I try and remind myself that I am a football fan and I'm just going there to enjoy myself, but then I see the following day and I realize actually a lot of people are watching you. Stop doing that.
So I get the sense that he is serious, that he forgets that he wants to just be there as a football fan, and forgets that the next day, this game they normally wouldn't be talking about, because there's such a fun video of the Prince of Wales reacting wildly to a win or a score. I hope I grabbed the video. Maybe I didn't, though. There's a video of him as the ball is getting closer to the goal. His eyes get wide and then he jumps up out of his seat. And it's so fun to see that just, carefree reaction.
None of his Isles of Scilly engagements that afternoon either, and nothing in the news cycles that followed. If the king is reaching, the prince is not, and the biographers have told us exactly why. William per Bauer has decided not to forgive. Per Sykes, he has decided to legislate. Per Loney, he intends to do it alone. Before anyone says this is overreading a radio show, look, I have watched this family for 30 years. The signals this family uses are not press releases. The signals are absences. The grandmother stopped wearing her brooch. The father did not invite the son. The brother does not say the name on heart breakfast.
I think there's a concern on the part of William regarding his father. He loves his father. He admires his father. But Charles has been a lot weaker on Harry. We had the Clarence House face-to-face, didn't we, in September of last year, which I think was a mistake because it's more material for the next documentary, more material for Spare 2. This time it's personal.
The signals travel through what is missing, not through what is said. That is how the institution has always communicated. That is how a culture trained in stiff upper lip transmits a verdict. You don't need a press release. You need to count the names. And the count is exact. He named one absent person. He refused to name 4 across 3 hours of his charming, fatherly, horse from football best. Every gesture of warmth was aimed at the wife, the children, the dead grandmother who put cream on first. The 4 names he didn't say are the 4 names 3 biographers have told us he intends to make less royal the moment he takes the crown. There is no other reading of this. There is only the polite Commonwealth version, where we keep saying, perhaps it was nothing, or the version where you trust your own ears. I trust my ears. I think you should trust yours.
Look at the amount of disrespect this would be to William, because that is his mother as well. You know, Meghan does not care about her connection to this family. If you are in close proximity, she is going to steal it to help herself, but not consider, how disrespectful it is to take from someone that is like in your family, so to speak, that you don't even care about doing the right thing to get permission or to see if it would be okay. You just want to run with it. And that's what I find so distasteful about this woman. She just does things that are so not the way things are done.
So we come to the part of this story that I want you to remember next month. Next year, the morning you wake up and the news bulletin says that the king is gone and the new king has signed his first letters patent. I want you to remember this radio interview. Across the better part of 3 hours, the future king of the United Kingdom and 15 Commonwealth realms named one absent person, his grandmother, and refused to name 4. He spoke at length about a wife who is recovering from a cancer the channel will continue to handle with the dignity her recovery has earned. He praised her work with quiet, accurate language. An amazing mom, an amazing wife, and literally our family couldn't cope without her.
So I'm really glad it went really well, and she wanted to go and do lots of research. She spends God knows how much time now looking through all the paperwork. She's a proper pro on early years, and so most evenings I'm fighting to get past in the bedroom all the paperwork that she's got lined up ready to read. So I'm so pleased it went well for her, and I think she came back buzzing.
So it's a lovely insight, isn't it, to their life and how Catherine really does her work even in the bedroom. But they discuss the serious aspect of it, how tough the cancer diagnosis was, where William emotionally admitted the family just couldn't cope without her.
He talked about his daughter being a Taylor Swift devotee. There was the boarding school slip about his eldest son, accidentally confirmed the royal correspondents tell us. He laughed at his youngest leaving jam fingerprints in the back of the car. The late Queen's preferred order of cream and jam on a scone came up, and he revealed the running track he plays when he needs a lift. In the middle of all of that warmth, and I mean genuine warmth, the kind a grandmother in Brisbane texts her sister about, sat a silence, a precise silence. A silence shaped exactly like a brother, a sister-in-law, a 6-year-old nephew, and a 4-year-old niece. The last time William and his brother walked together in public without contest, they were 2 boys in dark suits walking behind their mother's coffin.
William's a practical man. Okay, my dad's got cancer. It's sad, but I've got to get on with it. My wife's got cancer. It's horrible, but I've got to get on with it. I'm going to be the king. I've got to get on with it. That is what I have to get on with. He's not there saying, why me? This is awful. Why is all these horrible things in life happening to me? But he doesn't think like that because he knows it's happening to millions of people around the world. William is a doer. He's not a taker. He's a giver. He's a doer. He gets on with the job.
And he's not a victim.
The Queen who came out of the Abbey to receive that coffin chose the next day to break protocol and bow. That queen is the only absent person William named on Heart Breakfast last Friday. The grandmother is named. The brother is refused. 3 biographers told us this was coming. The Prince of Wales told us on the busiest commercial radio show in Britain that they were right.
Would it be overstating it to say that William does not like his brother?
He doesn't like his brother's behaviour, right, in the way that his brother's acted.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the way he's been. He's disgusted by him. He's appalled.
Wow.
He's let down by him. He's angry. He's still a very, very, very angry man. Tries to roll his eyes. But a lot of this comes down, Mark, to Meghan Markle. She is the fly in the ointment. And William believes that if Meghan wasn't on the scene, this would never have happened.
So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Was the silence a kindness? Was William sparing the family further public conflict? Or was the silence the verdict, delivered live on a 4 million listener breakfast show? Drop your verdict below. I read every single one. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about how this family really communicates. And subscribe. There's a lot more coming this week. The next chapter ships in the next few days. We're walking through what letters patent actually do and what they cannot do without Parliament. You'll want to be here for that one. This is Star Spotlight, where the silences are read with the same care as the speeches, where 3 biographers in 6 months count as a chorus, and where the names that don't get said carry the heaviest part of the story.